Fantasy Brains!
What's going on, everybody? It's Matthew Kahan. You can also know me as the host of Fantasy Brains, and today we're going to be bringing you something a little bit different. We're going to be starting our series today of prospect film review. Today, we're going to be doing TreVeyon Henderson. So what does this mean? Throughout the offseason, we're going to be going through a plethora of NFL draft prospects that are about to be drafted in April, this coming spring. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to watch his Indiana film from the 2024 season. We're going to be watching his Oregon film as well, going to be grading him. And we're going to also be doing this on a complete fantasy football perspective. So while we will be, calling out all the traits that are valuable for a real life back, we are going to be looking at it from a fantasy perspective. So just keep that in mind. Before we continue, make sure to follow us on all of our social medias at Leatherbrains on Instagram, X, TikTok, and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Also, make sure we have live streams going up Tuesday and Thursday with the Leather Brains and the Fantasy Brains. Definitely check that out and hit us up with the follow for sure. We've been putting out some great content, and hopefully you like what we're going to put out today. So like I said, we're going to be talking about TreVeyon Henderson today, a really explosive back, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far, and just watching games throughout the season and throughout his entire career. He is my favorite back in this class. Obviously, everyone out there is going to be like, Ashton Genty is the best back in the class, which may be true, but we're going to come out here and be grading, just kind of talking about what we see out of TreVeyon Henderson. I have not watched this film yet, so it's going to be a very raw review, just like I might be watching for the first time with you guys. So we're definitely going to dive into it. Let's start out, though. Let's just talk about some intangibles about TreVeyon Henderson. He played 4 years in college, the 22-year-old back. So, he's a little bit on the older side, but not too old for our liking. Out of Ohio State University. He's 5'10", weighing about 212 pounds. So he gives you that solid size of running back, but he's also not going to be that. He's kind of profiles a little bit more as a bowling ball. A smaller back, maybe a Maurice Jones-Drew type of build, maybe a little bit taller than that. But in terms of his career statistics, he played very well most years of his career, eclipsing about 900 plus yards in 3 out of 4 seasons. His best season actually was his freshman year back in 2021, where he had over 1,200 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns, along with 4 receiving touchdowns. For the rest of his career, he has battled with some injuries, not necessarily season-long injuries, but just little things that have picked up that have kept him out of games. So definitely something to keep in mind. Other things than that, obviously, we know last year, Ohio State won the national championship. He was a big part of it. Him and Quinshon Judkins really shared the backfield in dominating fashion. I mean, we all know Judkins is also going to be a guy we'll be reviewing in a couple weeks here. So definitely was a great season for Ohio State. But when you look at the film, obviously he's not going to be running for 25 carries a game when you have 2 elite backs like Henderson and Judkins. So a lot of this film, we're going to see what we can get out of it. We can see if he's going to be a good fantasy back and where we'd like to see him land. So, 5-star prospect. This guy has been a stud his entire career. He was the Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, his senior year. So a lot of accolades to his name. And I think, he's going to be a stud in the NFL, hopefully. So we're going to start out with the Indiana film. Like I said, we're just going to be watching it, and we'll see what we see out of this. All right, so on the first play here, not every single play is going to be going to him. This is shout out to the Dynasty nerds. We get their film from them. They have a great prospect film room. So we're seeing him in a little bit of the receiving game right here. Nothing crazy so far. Looks like we're about to get his first carry right here. Okay. So we got a run up the middle right here. Looks like he sidesteps the first tackle. So if you look right here, the guy who's about to tackle him, he sidesteps him to the left, quick jump cut, and then hits the hole quickly to gain about 10 to 11 yards on this play. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to show us another angle here. But yeah, if you look at it from this view, look, he goes right past it. So here we go. So he has the hole obviously right here to the left. He makes a quick jump cut right to the left and then hits that hole. Now, a lot of running backs don't have, the agility to be able to jump cut that quickly. And you could also argue that in the NFL, the middle linebacker here that's trying to tackle him will be faster, will be stronger, and won't necessarily let him get past him. So you could make that argument. But in this play, he makes a quick jump cut, quick reactionary decision, and then he hits the hole quickly for about 10 yards here. Looks like he's, eating into that contact. He's bringing it on to himself. All right, little RPO action here. And obviously, this is a stacked offense. So there's a lot of weapons, a lot of guys. The attention is not always going to be on him. All right, we got a screen pass to Henderson, jump cut to the inside, and then right down the sideline. All right, so this is an interesting play right here. Let's see it. Let's see how he catches it. Yeah, so he catches it with both his hands. He does look like relatively a natural pass catcher. Now, what I will say is when you look at his college production, he did not do well in the receiving game. The most he ever had was 27 receptions, which he recorded both his freshman and his senior year. Now, in college, you're only playing 12 to 13 games most seasons. So if you go up to 17 games in the NFL and potentially a different offense, he could catch the ball more. I do like what he brings as a receiving back. However, it just doesn't look like on this play, or just in general, that he's doing anything crazy with it. But he makes a quick cut to the inside and then he bursts down the sidelines. His explosiveness is truly just off the charts. Here we go again. Another little pass to him on the outside. I mean, yeah, he looks like a natural pass catcher. He catches the ball cleanly. Obviously, there's really nothing he can do with that play. All right. So I like this play right here. And a lot of people out there are going to say, why do we like this play, especially from a fantasy perspective here? And the reasoning is pass blocking is very, very important for running backs. Mostly because that's how you get on the field. If you can't pass block, you're not going to be able to stay in on those third down plays where there's a good chance you're going to be pass blocking, even on the play action plays. If he doesn't get those snaps, his snap share is going to go from a good potential 75 to 80% in a given offense to 40 to 50% because they just can't trust him when these linebackers and corners are coming into blitz. So obviously, this is one play, but you can kind of see he seeks contact and goes right into him, even when the right tackle, Josh Simmons, is with him. So definitely what we like to see. Obviously, it doesn't matter for fantasy, but it also does matter in terms of him getting on the field. So we got a couple plays more. And, I think in this Indiana game, he ends up with about 89 yards and a touchdown. Nothing crazy, but also only on about 10 carries. So can't really complain much when you're averaging eight a carry. All right. Up the middle here. Okay. Nothing crazy on this play, but when you look at it, he obviously is, again, quick jump cuts, a line of scrimmage, quick decision making. It really is going to help at the NFL when everything, patience is very important, but you got to be able to make those quick decisions and find the hole. And so far, what I've seen out of Henderson is it looks like his vision is pretty solid. So here we go again. Another pass blocking opportunity. He does chop on the left tackle there. Pretty good play. All right, little screen pass to the left. Dodges the tackle and heads up the sideline. Pretty solid play right here. Again, does look like a pretty natural pass catcher. Dodges the first tackle and then gets up the sideline for an extra 8 yards. Nothing special, but it's just a prototypical play that not every single running back out there is able to make. Faked him over here. So far, what I've seen out of him, obviously we haven't seen any breakaway plays, but we've seen that on tape before. This is not a game where he had as many breakaway runs. If you want to go look at his breakaway runs, watch the Texas game where he took a screen pass 75 yards to the house with about 20 seconds left in the half. That was definitely one of his best plays. All right, here he scores right here. To be honest, this is nothing special. I mean, this is just zone run to the right, to the left side, getting in there, pushing in. Nothing crazy there. All right, pass blocking again. I mean, again, this Ohio State offense was absolutely ridiculous. All right, here he is. Nothing special on this run. I mean, if you watch him again, we go back a little bit here. He does have very solid patience from what I'm seeing. So you can kind of see him right here surveying. There isn't really much here. There's not really much he can do, but he cuts back inside, seeing that he can't go to the outside, and then fights forward for a couple of yards. It's not special, but in the NFL, not everything's going to be a big play. So you have to kind of take what you can get most of the time. All right, a little outside zone run. Again, nothing special going to the outside, and then eventually makes his cut in. The cut is just so quick. His agility is just off the charts. Now, I haven't seen any crazy, juke moves or spins or hurdles, anything like that, but he cuts very, very quick. All right, so we see a little bit of power on this one. So he's surveying the field. Obviously, right here, you don't see really any open hole, but you see this one kind of opening up behind this offensive lineman 65 right here. Cuts right to the right and goes through the hole. Now, the defensive lineman swallows him up, but he's able to stay up on his feet for a couple seconds and gain an extra couple yards. So definitely something you like to see, the guys who are fighting for extra contact. It it's what you need in the NFL. All right, another play, simple up the middle, nothing special here, but getting to the next level. He's doing everything he can on these plays. Ooh, okay. Finally, we're seeing some agility here. Okay. So he gets Matt in the backfield right away here by 21. He has to make a quick move. This is a really tough play to make as a running back. Very impressive that he was able to dodge this tackle, but whoop, little quick spin move right there. And obviously, he only gains 5 yards or so, but this is a negative 2 yard play turning into a 4 yard gain here. And obviously, when you're at the goal line, this is a very important play, especially if it's like a second down play. So he obviously fights forward, but that was a great spin move. Let's watch it one more time. Ooh, that's just again, these are college players, but Indiana was a top 5 team this season. Just remember that. So it's it does matter. Obviously, I wanted to pick games where he was playing the top end competition, the best players that we can see this year. Let's see what else you got. All right, passing to him again. Again, just simple, natural hands. It's what you like to see at the next level. Goes out there. It's a very simple NFL play. Going out 5 yards, catching it, taking it for another couple three. It's also very classic in like a 2-minute offense. So if he does earn those third down snaps, that's the exact type of thing he's gonna do. Whoa. Okay, so this is the explosiveness that we're talking about right here. So let's see. So right now takes the ball. Obviously, it's a pretty small hole. A lot of running backs in the NFL could get through this hole, but he squeezed it through it very quickly. You can see this guy is getting pushed to the left into the hole. So TreVeyon goes right into it, breaks a tackle, and then explodes to the finish line. Now, obviously, he slides at the end given the game circumstances, and that also, again, doesn't really matter, but it does show the type of player that he is. He's a selfless player, and you might say that might be a poor thing for fantasy, but at the end of the day, those are the type of players that coaches want in their locker rooms. The players that are focused on winning, and not necessarily the players that are focused on their individual statistics. So let's watch this one more time, actually, from this angle. And he just like you can just see he just explodes out of it. Like he is just significantly faster. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to be running in the 40-yard dash. However, I'd say he's probably going to run in the high 4.3s, low 4.4s, but his acceleration is where I consider it off the chart. So this was his Indiana film. Let's move on to the Oregon film now. All right. Here we got the Oregon film. So this is not the playoff game where he rushed for about 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, they did not have that game, but they did have the regular season game against Oregon where Ohio State did go down 31-32. So this is a little bit of a longer one, but we're going to check this one out. Let's see what he's got on this one. Again, didn't seem like there was any crazy big plays, but we'll see if we can identify anything about his game. God, it's so sunny in this game. I can't even imagine being a player in this game trying to look up for the ball as a receiver, through your helmet. All right, a couple pass plays in a row. They have him running a lot of like little short outs. I haven't seen as much of a developed route tree from him so far. All right, so he got his first handoff. So he cuts it right to the left right away. Obviously, it would have been cool to see him try to hurdle right here over the center. That would have been an insane play. But he took the safer route, cutting to the left here, seeing if there's anything. I would have liked to see him keep trying to cut here to the outside, considering I believe this is Abuka right here who has the block, and it doesn't look like there's anything on the left side right here. The safety number 0. There's no way he would catch him. Obviously, it is a very tough play to get all the way to the outside here, but with his speed and acceleration, I think that would have been the better move. He ends up cutting inside here, and he gets a couple yards. Nothing special, but he does go right into the contact and falls forward for a couple yards. See what you got. All right, a QB sneak. It's crazy that they're talking about banning the tush push right now, by the way. I just can't believe that, even though that wasn't a tush push, but just the QB sneak in general on a little bit of a side note right there. Not a lot of carries for him so far, but he's doing solid in pass protection. All right, here we go. All right, he explodes right to the second level. So we got a little bit of a zone run right here coming to the left. Now it looks like the blocking is going to line up very well here. So yeah, very nice blocking. There's a pretty solidly big hole right here. Again, majority of running backs in the NFL are going to get through this hole, but he just bursts right through it to the second level. And obviously, you have number 0 up here containing the outside, and you have 26 containing the middle, and then you have, can't see the number here, but the other safety, number 5, containing this outside. So there's not as much room here, but he just scampers for a quick 20 yards right there. Obviously, we love the explosiveness. Ooh, ooh, baby. Okay. All right, I like this run right here. This is probably one of the more impressive ones that I've seen. So again, there's a big hole on the left side here, but again, you have got the linebacker here. He's not going to catch TreVeyon, especially as he's, going to be chasing him. And TreVeyon is the one that has momentum. Number 0 has to come up and make the tackle here. He's the only one. This is a true one-on-one situation. As long as Jeremiah Smith can hold his block up here against number 7, boom, just goes right past him. And again, these are college players. The defenders in the college level are not going to be as aggressive as the guys in the NFL. But again, he just can get right around him with his speed, and then he gets right to the next level. He cuts right inside, gets all the way. I would have liked to see him score the touchdown here, but again, he did make a really good play. Let's see it again. He just goes right past it, and then he makes a smart decision by cutting inside of Jeremiah Smith as opposed to the outside, which would have probably lost him about 10 to 15 total yards on the play. But he's off to the races, and again, that's a very nice play overall, so nothing to complain about. All right. Nothing special here, but again, like they have him in a blocking situation. He didn't really do anything. Number 7 played horrible defense, but he still went out there and laid a decent block. Okay. So this is a play that it didn't really turn into anything, but I think this is the type of play where he will succeed in the NFL. So this is a counter run to the left side, and it allows him to gain a lot of acceleration before he makes first contact with a defender, which I like again because it allows him to either get in the inside or cut back to the outside to make a huge play. So again, nothing really here. He kind of Again, I would have liked to see him go to the outside here, but he decides to cut in. Not great vision on that play, only picks up about 2 yards on that one. Got another outside zone play, just beats everybody to the edge here, only picks up a couple, but again, it's those little short yardage gains where he's gonna beat everybody, especially in the NFL. You have third and fourth downs, third and 2, fourth and 2. You give him a little pitch to the outside, he's most likely gonna beat any of the linebackers, any of the safeties to the pylon, which is obviously huge in the NFL. Another pass blocking stat. Nothing crazy on that one, but he does have very good pass blocking form. He looks like in this offense between him and Quinchon, the much better pass blocker. Oh, okay. All right. So we got a lot here. So it looks like he's going to miss this block. So 55 block sheds the center very quickly. TreVeyon doesn't see him. You can kind of see his eyes leaning here. Maybe he's about to trying to pick up number 20 right here. Misses him completely, but Howard's able to get out of it, make a really nice play here. TreVeyon makes himself available, gets the flip, and then cuts back to the inside. Kind of making something out of nothing. Obviously, it's a better Will Howard play, but another great block right here by TreVeyon. Again, just seeking contact right here on number 7, who just keeps getting picked on by him this entire game, it seems like. Is this the one-handed catch? No, almost though. Makes a lot of those, so the more of this film I watch, it's like I just want to scout Will Howard. He's made a lot of really nice throws in this game so far. So definitely we'll have to check out his film at some point in this offseason. But again, so far with what I've seen with Henderson, it's kind of what I expected. When you're scouting running backs, or actually let's hold on one second. So we got another inside zone play right here. D tackle again sheds the block on the right guard right here. TreVeyon makes a little jump cut to the outside again. Defensive tackle, a lot of elusive backs. You're going to see Saquon make this play. 9 times out of 10 on a defensive tackle. But in the backfield, he goes from a -1, -2 yard loss, cutting it to the outside right here, and then, hitting the hole as he can. Now, he did get tackled, but again, he made something out of nothing there. So it's definitely a nice play. What I was kind of saying before, it's pretty tough to scout running backs. There's not as much you can see with them, unless they just have a ridiculous amount of broken tackles like Ashton Genty. But with a guy like Henderson, who is, so explosive, he reminds me so much of Jonathan Taylor. And I think that's the thing. Like if you go ahead and you go watch some Jonathan Taylor highlights or Jonathan Taylor film, he profiles the same type of back. He's a little bit of a, mid-size, smaller back. He's going to be able to hit the hole quickly. He has good vision. And once he gets to the second level, it's very hard to bring him down. Go watch the Tennessee Titans game with Jonathan Taylor, where he went off for about 250 yards and 3 touchdowns this year in week 16, I believe. Go check out that film and watch the comparison. Jonathan Taylor, once he gets to the second level, he's gone. It's very hard. He has top end acceleration, just like TreVeyon Henderson. There's going to be fantasy managers out there that won't believe in the explosiveness that TreVeyon Henderson has. And that's just because his 40 time might read off as a 4.43, which again is not bad by any means, but you're not going to be like, wow, this guy has game breaking speed, but he does have game breaking athleticism. So I'd say so far after watching this, my comparison for him is Jonathan Taylor, just a guy that's consistent. You can hand it off to him every single down if you need to, 20 to 25 times a game. And I think also, one thing I never mentioned, TreVeyon Henderson through 4 years had 0 fumbles. So you talk about or 0 fumbles lost. So you talk about reliability as a player with pass blocking, not fumbling the ball, having a high IQ of the game, being selfless. This is a guy that whatever organization he's going to land in, he's going to be able to get on the field and the coaches are going to love him, which is obviously a huge plus. All right, another little inside zone play right here. Again, nothing too special. He's just kind of going up, a little bit of a missed face mask call, but he stays up there, breaks a couple tackles. Okay. So on this play, he makes the cut, but it's weird. He doesn't go to the outside. So he surveys the field here. The left side for him, obviously from his perspective, is completely jammed up. If he cuts to the right here, I'm not saying he'll be gone, but he might have, a good 10 to 15 yards on the outside. But he kind of like jumping around too much of a quick feet, and he's taking too many steps there, trying to do too much, not really being decisive with his decision. He ends up going up the middle, only gaining about 2 yards. But you see Will Howard over here, and then again, I think the Samika Ibuka. The right side of the field right here is clear, so that could have been a huge play. Number 5 comes in here, but again, one-on-one with TreVeyon, I do believe in open space. He's going to make every guy miss. It is a little bit of a shame. I did wanna watch his, better games, but again, you can go watch those highlights. He made some crazy plays in those games. That screen pass he took to the house against Texas, if you wanna see the true acceleration that he has when he's fully healthy, that's what you can get out of TreVeyon Henderson. And look, being healthy is a part of the game. He struggled with it. There was a lot of times where he played through injuries, and it slowed him down a lot, and that could be an issue when it comes to the NFL. All right, another little, dump off right here. His hands look very natural. So I do believe in his ability to be a pass catcher in the NFL if he's able to land in a good situation. A lot of the routes they have, it's a very simple offense. They just have so much talent that they can just run it quickly. Oh, great block right here. Wow. So look at the chop block right here. Just completely took out the DB. Again, these are the things that coaches are looking for right here. Boom. Protects Will Howard, and then he's able to make the throw right there to Carnell Tate without a guy in his face. Now, one thing that does concern me a little bit about his receiving game is the lack of route tree that he runs. I haven't really seen him run an angle route or, even just like go in a 5 wide and run a slant or run a go route. I haven't seen him do any of that, which is a little bit concerning. But just again, this is the top end scale of things. If you look at a player like Brian Thomas, a lot of people were kind of saying, you know, he doesn't have it, or he doesn't have that intermediate route running because he just didn't have to do that at LSU, because his role was the deep corner route guy, where Neighbors was the over the middle guy. So just because, again, in this Ohio State offense, the way that they're so stacked, he might not have to have, as big of a role when it comes to an advanced route tree as he could have in a different offense in the NFL. So just remember that again, I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't say he doesn't have it. It's just they're not really putting him on these routes yet. So that's the rest of us. So to be honest, I like him a lot. Again, if you watch his film, his highlights, you're going to be very impressed with the explosiveness, his ability to get to the next level. He does lack a little bit of, the ability to break tackles. His vision is good, but also can be questionable at some times. I do really like him as a prospect. I have him graded now as about a late first, early second round NFL prospect. I think the teams that would work best for him would be the Denver Broncos, the Minnesota Vikings, the Las Vegas Raiders, teams that are going to rely on their run game, teams that are going to have a zone run scheme where a lot of it is out of the pistol or out of shotgun, and you can give your running back a lot of time to get to the outside. And again, also those teams that I just named, at least the Broncos and the Vikings, are obviously great teams. So if he's able to land in either of those situations as the starting back without any other competition, he's easily going to be a top 2 to 3 pick in dynasty fantasy football. And even in redraft, people are going to be really high on him. There's a lot of backs in this class that people like. You have, Omarion Hampton, you have Caleb Johnson. We're going to get to all those guys. So it really does depend with running backs a lot more than wide receivers, the situation that they land in and the draft capital that they're given, because it just matters how much a team is willing to utilize him. So with running backs, it is a little bit harder to scout, but I really do hope that everybody enjoyed the first Prospect Film Room episode with TreVeyon Henderson. Let me know in the comments what other things you'd like me to talk about. If you'd like me to do any specific players, if you'd like me to do any specific games, highlights, stuff like that. But again, really hope everybody enjoyed. Make sure to follow us on all of our social medias at Leatherbrains on Instagram, X, TikTok, and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Next player we will be doing is Caleb Johnson from Iowa. So definitely make sure to tune into the next one coming out pretty soon. Hope everyone enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
3, 2, 1.
Got a blast!
Thanks for checking out the Fantasy Brains. Don't miss next week's episode, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. See you next week, Brainiacs.